Gaur Premanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories, all glories, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvisesha Sanyavadi Pastrata. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, good morning, one and all. Thank you for coming. Today's class in the beautiful Bhagvatam, Canto 10, Chapter 66, and it's text 26 through 31. Is that correct? Which verses are we going to chant together? 31? Just 31, not 30 and 31, just 31? Okay. So I'll chant up until 31 and then we'll chant together. Ragaha kasi pater gyatva manisyaha putra bandhava purascha hatta rajan atta natheti parandan. My dear king, when they recognized it as the head of their king, the Lord of Kasi, his queens, sons, and other relatives, along with all the citizens of the city, began to cry pitifully, "Alas, we are killed, O my Lord, my Lord." Text 27 and 28. Sudaksinas tasya sutaha kritva samsta vidhim patahe nihayata tir hantaram yasyami apachitam putu etyatmana bishandhaya sopadayo maheshwaram suduksino racham asya Paramena Samadhina. Translation. After the king's son, Sudikshana, had performed the obligatory funeral rituals for his father, he resolved within his mind, "Only by killing my father's murderer can I avenge his death." Thus the charitable Sudakshana, together with his priests, began worshiping Lord Maheshwar with great attention. Purport. Srila Prabhupada writes, the Lord of the kingdom of Kasi is Vishwanath, Lord Shiva. The temple of Lord Vishwanath is still existing in Varanasi, and many thousands of pilgrims still gather daily in that temple. Text 29. Prito mukte bhagavam tasmai baram adhad vibhu pitri handri vadhopayam savarve baram ipsitam. Translation. Satisfied by the worship, the powerful Lord Shiva appeared in the sacred precinct of Avimukta and offered Sudakshina his choice of benedictions. The prince chose as his benediction a means to slay his father's killer. Dakshinagnim parichara brahmana samam rit vijam avichara vidhanena sasagni paramatayarbhata. And so we'll chant 31 together. Sadhaya Sadhayishati Sankalpam Brahmanye Prayojitaha Ityadishtastata Chakre Krishnaya Bicharam Varti Sadhaya Ishati Sankalpam Brahmanye Prayojitaha Ityaditas Tata Chakre Krishnayam Bicharam Brati Sarhi Shati Sankalpam Brahmanye Prayojita Ityadishtas Tata Chakre Krishnaya Bicharam Brati. Dakshina Agnim, to the Dakshina fire. Parichara, you should render service. Brahmanai, Brahmanas, Saman, together with Rituvijam, the original priest. Abhichara Vidhanena, with the ritual known as Abhichara, meant for killing or otherwise harming an enemy. Sa, that. Cha, and. Agni, fire. Pramatai, by the Pramathas, powerful mystics who are in Lord Shiva's retinue and who assume many different forms. Ritaha, surrounded. Sadyashishati, excuse me, Sadyashita yati, it will accomplish. Sankalpam, your intention. Abrahmanye, against one who is inimical to Brahmanas. Prayojitaha, utilized. Iti, so. Adishtaha, instructed. Rata, in that way. Chakre, he did. Krishnaya, against Lord Krishna. Abhicharan, intending to do harm. Brati, observing the required vows. Translation. Lord Shiva told him, accompanied by Brahmanas, serve the Dakshinagni fire, the original priest, following the injunctions of the Abhichara ritual. Then the Dakshinagni fire, together with many pramatas, will fulfill your desire if you direct it against someone inimical to the Brahmins. So instructed, Sudakshina strictly observed the ritualistic vows and invoked the Abhichara against Lord Krishna. So I say, and you can repeat. Lord Shiva told him, accompanied by Brahmanas, serve the Dakshinagni fire, the original priest, following the injunctions of the Abhichara ritual. Then the Dakshinagni fire, together with many pramatas, will fulfill your desire if you direct it against someone inimical to the Brahmanas. So instructed, Sudakshin strictly observed the ritualistic vows and invoked the Abhichara against Lord Krishna. Purport. It is clearly stated here that the powerful Dakshinagni fire could be directed only against someone unfavorable to the Brahminical culture. Lord Krishna, however, is most favorable to the Brahmanas, and in fact maintains the Brahminical culture. Lord Shiva thus knew that if Sudakshina attempted to direct the power of this ritual against Lord Krishna, Sudakshina himself would perish. Om Agantamarindasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadanti Swapadantikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radha Vrindavaneshwari Brisha Bhanustute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Payevacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha. So I'll read these verses again together. This is getting pretty exciting, isn't it? My dear king, when they recognized it as the head of their king, the Lord of Kasi, his queens, sons, and other relatives, along with all of the citizens of the cities, began to cry pitifully, "Alas, we are killed! Oh, my Lord, my Lord. I think I'll address this verse here. So what you'll remember has happened. We have the Lord of Kasi was saying that he was Krishna, imitating Krishna. And so he was calling Krishna a fake. He was saying, you're this Krishna. He's pretending to be the supreme, while I am the supreme. So now some people may think right away when we hear this, we think, well, this is crazy. Who would think like this? Huh? I mean, for someone to think that I am God and God is not God, that sounds crazy. And yet, we see it's happening everywhere we look. So many people are thinking that they're God or wanting to become God. But many people believe that they are God. One of my godbrothers was telling me back in the late 70s, I think, he went to see some yogi that was touring the United States. And the yogi was saying, I'm not here to convince you that I am God. I'm here to convince you that you're God. And so when he said that, everyone went, huh? Tell me more. Because I thought you were going to try to tell me that you're God. And with that, I might argue. You might have to prove that. But if you're going to tell me that I'm God, well, now I can believe that. Why, that's what I always wanted, to be God. We think of ourselves as, many times we find we think of ourselves as that supreme person. Now, what do I mean by that? We see ourselves many times as the center of our universe, right? You've got the universe all around. It's filled with innumerable living entities, and I'm in the center. And everything revolves around me. It's all about me. This is very common in people. This is very common. It's not uncommon at all. It's like, I say this again and again, and it makes sense. If I take a picture of this beautiful group of devotees, take a nice group picture. When I pass the picture around, who's the first person you're going to look for? The center of that picture. Even though if you're up in the corner or down, you're the center of that photo. You're the, well, where am I? Whoa. You don't look for him. He's handsome. Why don't you look for him? You don't look for Krishna. No, we look for ourselves. So, in the very beginning, we decided when we were in the spiritual world with Krishna that we've had enough of being secondary to Krishna. We've had enough of it. Krishna gets all the attention. Krishna gets everything. He's the center of everyone's attention. Why can't I be the center of attention? I can at least be the center of my attention. Maybe all of the gopis and all the living entities won't be put me in the center of the world, but at least I can put me in the center of my world. So this is our original fall down. Some desire to be better than or different from Krishna. I can be just as good a God as Krishna can. I mean, think of it. In the spiritual world, when you have your own eternal form, that form is like Krishna's, isn't it? Very beautiful. Very attractive. Everything in the spiritual world is beautiful. There's nothing that isn't beautiful. That includes you and all the living entities there. So Krishna is extremely beautiful, and you are very beautiful too. And so we get this little wave of envy. And it manifests in the form of self-interest. Instead of being so focused on Krishna's interest and what Krishna might want and what Krishna might not want, I start thinking of what I might want. Why, I think about Krishna all the time. What about me? What about me? I'm beautiful. I don't get enough attention. I'm being deprived. My glories are not chanted enough. My glories should be chanted more. It's kind of like someone told me, it's kind of like you're in the spiritual world and you go out to pick flowers for Krishna. So here you are in Goloka Vrindavan. All these incredible forests, full of forest flowers. We know Krishna likes forest flowers. He wears a garland of forest flowers, you see. So here you are, and you're picking flowers for Krishna. And you come across all these beautiful flowers, and you're putting them in the basket. And you see this one flower, and it's exceptionally beautiful. And you think, oh, this flower would be beautiful in Krishna's turban. Hey, wait a minute. This flower would be very beautiful in my turban. So at that moment, you lost it. Self-interest. Now, instead of thinking about Krishna, I start thinking about myself. After a moment, we think, no, this flower would look more beautiful in Krishna's turban. You see? So this is the process. This is what's happened to all of us. We were focused on Krishna, Krishna's desires, how to make Krishna happy, to make sure we do things that don't please Krishna and always do things that do please Krishna. And for one little moment, we become distracted by self-interest. What about me? So at that moment that you see this flower and you think, oh, this would be beautiful in Krishna's turban, then we think, no, it would be good in my turban. You fell down. You went to the material world. You were here for billions and trillions of births, again and again and again, birth, death, trying to be the center of your world and maybe the center of someone else's. And then finally you came in contact with the devotees, and somehow or other, through the mercy of the devotees of Krishna, you put Krishna back in the center. And now you are liberated. You see? So it's just like that. That's all that's happened. It's not a really big thing. You simply took Krishna's interest and put your interest there instead. So we have this crazy king, and he's wanting so much to be God that he can't even recognize the real God when he sees him. He's thinking, no, I will challenge you. I will kill you. I will show you who's God. So, of course, Krishna took care of him very easily. He sent his Sudarshan chakra. Off went his head. And so the Sudarshan chakra hit this crazy king so hard that it knocked his head into the kingdom. And so the inhabitants, his queens, relatives, they see this head of the king and they're like, oh my God, oh my Lord. So This crazy king had others convinced that he was the supreme as well. He's not the only one in the kingdom thinking that he's Krishna. He's convinced others. And so they're thinking, oh my God, someone has killed God. There's their God, their king, their God, his head is laying there on the ground. So it must have shook everybody up. They must have been very alarmed at this. They're bewildered. How could this possibly happen? So this caused a big uproar in the kingdom. And so the next thing, after the king's son, Sudakshina, once he performed the funeral rites, think of what a sad funeral this must have been. Their God had just been killed. Not just their king, he's their God. And so after he performed the obligatory funeral rites, he was really upset. He's really angry. He's thinking, I'm going to get this Krishna. I'm going to get even. So he's really upset. He meets with his priests and they start to figure out, how can we get this crazy Krishna? Through some trick, he's killed our king. Our supreme Godhead has been killed by this Krishna. Now, we can see this is craziness, right? If my king is God and someone killed him, then I probably am not going to be able to kill that person who just killed God, right? I'm just using logic here. But we can see that there is no logic in this thinking because Sudakshina was in the mode of what? Passion, ignorance. He's really angry. I mean, so when we get into the modes, we lose access to our intelligence. So he's not thinking clearly. If he was sober, he would say, I don't know who this is that's killed God, but we should be careful that he doesn't come and kill us. It just makes sense, right? But because he's in the modes, he's not thinking clearly, and he's thinking, let's get revenge. Let's go kill this person. So we may not be powerful enough, but we'll come up with some scheme. I know. Let's go to Lord Shiva. So they approach Maheshwar. They do some puja, do some ritual, worship the Lord Shiva. And of course, Lord Shiva becomes pleased. Lord Shiva is very easily pleased. Doesn't take a lot of elaborate worship to please Lord Shiva. He's also very easily angered. So this is what's going on. So he's he told Lord Shiva, only by killing my father's murderer can I avenge his death. So you can see the anger in his words. Only by killing him. I have to kill him. So that's what I choose as my benediction for pleasing you. I want the ability to kill this person that has killed our king, my father. So then it moves on. Lord Shiva told him, accompanied by brahmanas, serve Dakshinagni fire, the original priest, following the injunctions of Abhichara ritual. Then the Dakshinagni fire, together with many pramatas, will fulfill your desire if you direct it against someone inimical to the Brahmins. Wow. Now this sounds kind of like a trick, doesn't it? Lord Shiva knows what's going on. You see, he's not confused by anger. Sudakshina is confused by anger. So here, Lord Shiva he's faced by someone who's crazed from anger, asking for the ability to kill Krishna. So Lord Shiva says, if you follow this ritual, if you do this perfectly with the proper priests, if you do it correctly, then you'll get the ability, if you observe all the rituals perfectly, you'll get the ability to kill this person if they are against the Brahmanas. Well, Lord Shiva knew that Lord Krishna is not against the Brahmanas. He knew that. In the purport, it is clearly stated here that the powerful Dakshinagni fire could be directed only against someone unfavorable to the Brahminical culture. Lord Krishna, however, is most favorable to the Brahmanas and in fact maintains the Brahminical order. Lord Shiva thus knew that if Sudakshina attempted to direct the power of this ritual against Lord Krishna, Sudakshina himself would perish. So Lord Shiva knew. He knew. You're going to take this potency from this ceremony. You're going to direct it towards Lord Krishna. But Lord Krishna is the most favorable to the Brahmanas. He's the dearmost friend and ever well-wisher of all living entities, especially the Brahmanas. And so, but this will only work if you direct this potency towards someone who's unfavorable to the Brahmanas. So, Sudakshina was in so much anger, he was so much in the mode of passion, that he's still not thinking clearly. He should have thought, well, wait a minute, my dear Lord Shiva, you're saying that this will only work if I direct this potency from my sacrifice towards someone who is unfavorable to the Brahmanas. But Krishna is favorable to the Brahmanas. He should have said, so what happens if I direct it towards Krishna? He's favorable to the Brahmanas. Well, Lord Shiva would have said, well, then you will be killed. Lord Shiva would have said that, wouldn't he? What if I direct it towards Krishna? You're saying that it's for someone who is not favorable to the Brahmins. And yet we all know that Krishna is favorable to the Brahmins. Just using intelligence, knowledge. So what will happen if I do that? Lord Shiva would have said, well, then it will be you that will be killed. But he's so much in the mode of passion, so much in the angry, that he's not thinking, you see. Let's do it. And so they went through this elaborate worship. The Dakshinagni fire. So, and the story will go on. We'll talk about this over the next couple of days. But this crazy Sudakshina is maddened by anger. So we see this a lot in people. Sometimes people get into an argument and it turns into a fight. It escalates into a fight. This happens often. Even between friends, even between family members. Sometimes there's a fight. Someone gets so angry, they kill somebody. The modes are so potent, you see. So potent. Why, when we get into, when we become angry, we become somewhat crazy. We cannot expect when somebody is really angry for them to act with any intelligence. They're unpredictable. They're predictably unpredictable. All you know is that you need to calm them down or maybe leave the scene. You see? This anger is burning like fire. So this is what we have here. You see? This is the mode of passion that's used in the wrong way. And we all know that we can use the modes to serve Krishna. We can use passion to serve Krishna. When you're doing kirtan, you can use passion. You can turn your passion towards pleasing Krishna and the assembled devotees. You see? What about the mode of ignorance? Can we use the mode of ignorance in our service? Huh? Yeah, we have to sleep. You have to rest your body. So you can borrow the mode of ignorance for a little while and sleep. You see? So yeah, we can use all the modes. The devotee can use all modes and everything to serve Krishna. And if you use anything, whatever that may be, as a loving offering to Krishna and Guru, it becomes sanctified. Why, Arjuna was using killing. He was using war to satisfy Krishna. So it became a very sanctified war. You see? It was an offering of love to Krishna. Anything that we do is an offering of love to Krishna, is pure, sanctified. And it causes you to advance in your love for Krishna. The more service that we do for Krishna and Guru, the more our love it strengthens and increases. You see? So we can use anything if we offer it to Krishna with love and devotion. We can use that, anything, as an offering to Krishna. Key thing is we have to put in the elements of love and devotion. You see? So, but you can see Sadakshina is not thinking like that. He's not thinking for the pleasure of anyone except himself. And perhaps some relatives that are also crazy with anger. And when there is anger, when there's a group of people that get angry, they kind of cause each other's anger to burn more and more like fire, don't they? Are you going to let him do that to you and get away with it? You should do something. Yeah, I will. Then the other friend says, yeah, we're behind you. Let's go kill this Krishna. You see, it gets out of hand. There's no one intelligent enough to say, hey, wait a minute. Maybe we shouldn't try to kill Krishna. I mean, he killed our king. Our king was God. Well, even if we'll go to Lord Shiva. Yeah, but we're talking someone above Lord Shiva here. So nobody is thinking with any intelligence. They're just angry. We're going to get him. So they're going to have to pay the price for this anger, aren't they? Stupid is as stupid does. I don't know where I heard that, but I heard that from someone. Have you heard that? Do you know what I mean here? Stupid, you know that word stupid? Stupid is as stupid does. You're as stupid as you do, as your activities. See? You may think stupid thoughts. But if you think stupid thoughts and then do stupid activities, that's really stupid. You see what I mean? So this is what's going on. Stupidity. And everyone is feeding each other's stupidity. Yes, we'll go through this ritual. We'll follow it to the letter. We'll get even. No one in the crowd is saying, no, this is kind of dangerous. We should talk about this. And even if there was somebody that had a little bit of intelligence that would say, no, this sounds dangerous, where the rest of them, they're so keyed up with anger, they would have said, quiet! Whose side are you on? You see? So there's too much. It's crazy already. So we're kind of looking at the picture of the world that we're in right now, right? So much anger. Because that anger will ignite like gasoline. Then petrol. If you get a spark, then the petrol goes poof. It ignites so quickly. So it's like on holidays in America, they have these city parks. You know, parks in the city. They have them everywhere. India, we see these parks. In Kalyani, they have some very nice parks. And so whenever people get together, whenever there's a gathering of people, like especially at a sports event, cricket match, football match, it's a bunch of people, and they get in the mode of passion, don't they? My team is the best. No, my team is the best. My team will win. No, my team will win. Sooner or later, there's some anger, and it's fumed. It's fueled by everyone else's anger. And there's some fight. This happens. It's very common. So like on holidays, it used to be many years ago that in the parks in America, people could go there and consume alcoholic beverages with their meals. They could go cook and eat in the park and consume intoxication. But then they stopped it. The reason why they stopped it is because people got into fights. They would get intoxicated and they would fight. And oftentimes when there's a fight, somebody dies. Out of craziness. You get one intoxicated person, it's crazy, not using any intelligence. Another intoxicated person, they're crazy. And they're fighting over something that really doesn't matter. And they end up hurting or killing each other. You see? So this is the situation of this material world. It's governed by the three modes. We see people everywhere. They're completely controlled by the modes. And so our job as devotees of Krishna is to use these modes however we can to give them Krishna. If they're in the mode of passion, let's give them a passionate kirtan. Sometimes we might give them a passionate class. You see? Passionately tell them the glories of Krishna, pastimes of Krishna. You see? Anyway, our job is to get them to take some real intelligence. What is the true intelligence? What is the supreme intelligence? Buddhi Yogam, Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the supreme intelligence. It's the opposite of stupidity. Stupidity is I do crazy things and I don't have to have a good reason. Bhakti Yoga is I do intelligent things and I have the best reason. to please Krishna. Not to benefit me. I may benefit. That may be there, but I'm not so concerned about that. I just want to please Krishna. My love for Krishna is growing, and it makes my love grow the more that I can do something to please him. So we need to become perfect at that. And in that way, we can influence other people to take up this bhakti yoga. First, you need to be sane. You see? You need to be happy. If you're not happy, and yet we want people to take up this bhakti yoga, but you're not happy, well then, why would they do it? It's obviously not working very well for you. You see? So the devotee has to let bhakti yoga work on us. We have to let it, we have to enjoy the effect. And that means we chant and we become happy. We perform bhakti yoga, we become happy. We feel great pleasure. We even feel ananda. We feel blissful. This will attract people. This is what they're looking for anyway. They want this bliss. They're just trying to get it in the wrong direction. They're trying to squeeze it out of some money, fame, adoration, distinction. They're thinking this will give me some ananda. Even if they don't know what ananda is, they just know they want it. I want to enjoy. And I can enjoy maybe if I get a better one of these, maybe if I get one that's made of solid gold, then I'll enjoy. Maybe if all of my mundane things are better. Maybe if my car is no longer made of steel, maybe if it's made of gold, I'll enjoy more. I saw a picture on the internet of someone who has someone in Dubai who has a gold Ferrari. Ferrari made of gold. The gold doesn't make it go faster. It doesn't make it any more comfortable. It doesn't add to your ananda, except that you may think, mine is gold and yours isn't, so I should be in the center of your world too. You see? The struggle for profit, fame, distinction. I'm the only one in Dubai that has a gold Ferrari. That's real distinction. And from that, somebody will adore me. Why, some women may see me drive by in my gold Ferrari and they fall in love with me. So, out of my profit, my fame, my distinction, I'll get adoration. That's real ananda. That's real bliss. That's what I'm going for. All about me. Bliss for me. Adoration toward me. Distinction toward me. So as long as we direct these things towards ourselves, we can never, ever be happy. We have to turn it around and point that desire towards pleasing Krishna and not ourselves. We all know that, but we have to remind ourselves again and again and again, every day, several times a day. We have to remind ourselves. We have to remind each other. This is all about Krishna. I'm sorry, this isn't about you. I don't want you to feel left out. I don't want to break your heart, but this is not about you. This is an opportunity for you to make it all about Krishna. And then you'll get your Ananda. You'll get that. You can understand your Sat. You can have access to your Chit. But when you direct all of your activities towards pleasing Krishna, you can have your Ananda. And that's what you're looking for to begin with. So, are there any questions or comments?
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
It's a very inspiring class, Prabhuji, to hear how we should let Krishna be the center and we should be happy Krishna being the center. I had one question regarding this Sudakshina. Sudakshina, he gets the boon from Lord Shiva that you can do this Dakshinayana Yagya and the fire will burn, kill the person who is inimical to the Brahmanas. But he also said that you should do this Yagya with the help of the Brahmanas. You should do this Yagya with the help of the Brahmanas. Yeah. However, the result you will get if you send this fire demon upon the person who is inimical to the Brahmana. Now here is something interesting. I have observation that Sudakshina might be thinking that well, I am doing the yagya with the help of the Brahmanas, and I think Krishna is inimical to Brahmanas, and therefore because he has killed my father, who was very much favorable toward Brahmanas, and because Krishna killed my father, that means Krishna must be inimical to the Brahmanas. So this kind of logic might have made him feel that what he doing is right. Often we find in our life also, as we grow in bhakti, we tend to justify our action. We tend to be self-righteous. And our intelligence works in that way too. It makes us convinced that, well, what we are doing, what we are planning, what we are doing is absolutely correct. And that's it. You should go ahead. So how can we overcome this tendency of being self-righteous? How can we overcome the tendency to justify our action, even though in true sense we are full number one?
Is your question that even though they were doing this foolish thing, they were convinced that they were right? And how do we prevent doing something that we think is right, we're convinced is right, but is actually wrong?
Yeah, the tendency, because the intelligence of Sudakshina was blinded. He could not see what boon he got from Lord Shiva. So either way, so one way to understand it, okay, he was full number one to even understand what he heard from Lord Shiva. Or the other way to understand it, that his intelligence made him convinced that Krishna must be inimical to the Brahmanas, because I am doing yagya with the help of the Brahmanas. My father was favorable toward the Brahmanas. So intelligence might have made him convinced about the action, the mission upon which he was embarking upon, to produce the demon to kill Krishna and Dwarkavasis. So taking this in our own life, we have a tendency to be self-righteous too. We tend to justify our action, while the case may be something else. So how do you overcome the tendency to be self-righteous? How we should not let intelligence justify our action, though we are full number one?
We have to always take advice of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. It's like Prabhupada always said many times, keep a cool head. Stay out of that mode of passion. You see, these were brahmanas. These priests that performed this yajna, they were brahmanas. But they were all caught up in the mode of passion. They were doing crazy things, you see. And you know what? They thought they were right. Why, they were convinced. Yes, this is right. Yes. This is why Lord Shiva didn't say, no, you fools, you can't do this. They didn't want to hear that. They're such in the mode of passion. They want Lord Shiva to give them some means by which they can kill Krishna. They're not going to listen to Lord Shiva. They're crazy. They're crazy angry. You see? We find that many times people, when someone is crazy, they don't think that they're crazy. You know, they don't go to the psychiatrist and say, oh, my dear psychiatrist, I'm crazy. Can you help me? No, the crazy person is thinking, I'm sane. I don't know why they forced me to come here. There's nothing wrong with me. You see? I'm okay. This is the tendency. When we're crazed by the modes, we think we're right. Adolf Hitler, look what he did. He was convinced that he was right. Saddam Hussein was convinced he was right. These are people who do things on a big scale. And they're convinced, I'm right. I'm right and the rest of the world is wrong. So we need to have close association with sadhus, one another. We need people that we can reveal our minds to in confidence. People who will receive our minds in confidence. You need to be able to go to someone. You need to be able to go to him and them, anyone, and say, I've got this thought and I need to, let me reveal my mind to you. Please direct me. Please instruct me here. This is very important. You see? We don't just sit down by ourselves and try to figure it out. That's not what we do. We take shelter of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. I think I'm right. Let me find out if I'm right. Let me ask him and see what his opinion is. You see? Maybe I'll ask several people and get their opinions. I want to make sure that I do the right thing. But we have to catch it before we get too angry. When we get really angry, we think, yes, I'm right, and I know what to do. You see? And then someone can come and tell you, oh no, Prabhu, you shouldn't do that. Who are you talking to? Why, I'll get you too. It's too late. You see, before we light the fire of anger, or at least before it starts to burn too much, let's seek help from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. This is civilized. This is intelligent. Intelligent people, in the business world, I noticed that very successful, intelligent people always surrounded themselves with very successful, intelligent people. They ask advice. They didn't just cook it up themselves. Why, that's dangerous. Any intelligent person knows that's dangerous. I need to association. So we need that. We depend on it. It's essential. Does that answer your question? Always take shelter of Guru, Sadhu association, Shastra. Not just once in a while, and not just when it's convenient. Always. What else? Anyone else? Jai. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.